residential tech talk, lighting specialist, art residential tech,
Welcome to Residential Tech Talks. I'm Jeremy Glowacki, Executive Editor of Residential Tech Today. On this week's podcast, John Sciacca joins us from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where he is co-owner of Custom Theater and Audio. As I said, all of the other times he's been on the podcast, John is at the top of the list of my favorite guests and favorite people in general. He always makes me laugh, and I enjoy hanging out with him at industry events and reading the stuff he writes. We connected in person last month at CEDIA Expo in Denver, where he hosted the very successful first ever CEDIA Pickleball tournament. And then every evening we attended all the same press dinners. It was pretty great. When we got back, we each wrote our CEDIA summaries talking about what we saw at the show, what we liked. We didn't say anything we didn't like because that's not how you do it. But I thought it'd be really cool if we compared notes a month later and catch up a bit on what we've thought about since we were at CEDIA Expo. John Sciacca, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jeremy. It's been a little minute since I've been here, but happy to be back.
I know it's crazy how, like a year goes by, and as much as I enjoy talking to you, we just get busy with our things. And it was pre-CEDIA last year, the last time on the podcast for you. We didn't do a follow-up, but this time we're kind of flipping it. I like the idea of doing a follow-up instead of a preview and prediction.
And to be fair, we do talk in between the podcasts.
Yes, we do. And I can't believe it's been a month since we were playing pickleball, essentially. I mean, that's crazy how fast.
Yeah, literally today, because we played on September 2nd. Today's October 2nd. So
isn't that weird?
It's literally been a month. I've played many times since then, of course, but
and I have not.
Yeah, no matter how much I cajole you to do so.
I know it's not making it. It's not working. Actually, maybe the less you cajole, the more likely I am to play. I will do it. I have been bowling. I've been nursing an injury with my elbow, but let's talk about the success of your event, because you put so much effort into it. It was very impressive. I make fun of you because of how obsessed you are with pickleball, and I'm not the only one. But when you put together an event like that, you got sponsors, you got people involved, you got all kinds of different individuals from the industry. It wasn't just a bunch of media friends and PR folks. It was reps and dealers and manufacturers and executive directors of associations, all kinds of stuff. So it really paid off. I think you pulled together a really great first time event. How did you feel about it?
Well, first off, thank you. So, I mean, kind of the genesis of the whole thing, I mean, as you know, in CEDIA 2023, yeah, 2023.
Yeah, I know.
I said, hey man, bring your paddle out to Denver. And, there's usually, since they got rid of press day, there's kind of that dead day before the show when we're in town and we've got not a lot of responsibilities and things to do. And I'm like, hey man, let's get together. We'll play pickleball for a little bit. And if you'd played at all, it was very little, but we got together and, we drilled for a while. We got into some good games and it was just a ton of fun. And so I know how big pickleball is. It's the fastest growing sport in the country for the last quite a few years. And so I knew that there had to be a lot of people in our industry that were into it. And one of the things that I think makes it so great for like a trade show event is that, the paddle will fit in your backpack. I mean, it's not like golf clubs you have to bring. It's not like, a lot of stuff. And there's courts everywhere to play. So, I had posted something about pickleball, with you, and that we should get together. And then actually Alex Capisolatro from Josh reached out to me, and he's really into pickleball as well. And we started talking, and then we took it offline, and like, hey, we should try to do something. So, although I get a lot of the top billing for like this event, Alex really helped me a lot on the back end as well. So, we put it out there to get people to sign up. And initially, my thoughts were to keep it pretty light and easy for the first time. Really, just trying to raise enough money to cover the court costs and maybe some t-shirts. And Actually, but kind of once Alex got involved, we got a lot more companies involved, and we ended up having 15 companies total. Um, they're all right here on this pickleball paddle that I got for getting second place. Um,
Oh,
so
geez. Second place.
I know. I'm not no sour grapes. But so we got lots of companies involved, and we ended up raising so much money that we got custom paddles made for all the sponsors. We got T-shirts made. We had prizes made. We had lots of food and refreshments and all the court time. And then when all was said and done, we had enough money left over to donate $2,000 to CEDIA Education. Um, I think it went. I think it went really well for a first time event. What it really did for me is it gave me a lot of appreciation. I mean, we go to so many PR events,
Yeah.
and to be on the other end of it, and like you just feel like you're babysitting this thing. I had so many people that canceled last minute, where it's like, hey, my company's not coming, or hey, a project came up. Um, I broke my clavicle. I had
Kyle
unexpected
Steele.
surgery. Yeah, Kyle. I honestly thank God he did because Kyle was so helpful.
Yeah.
If Kyle had been playing, it would have been. But he was fantastic as a helper and definitely MVP. Um, I've been asking people like, well, what would be better? And I really tried to. I played in a few tournaments. I really tried to have it to like, if I went to a pickleball event, what would I want it to be? And I tried to make the things that I would want to see. But loud and clear, I heard that name tags. I think that's a
Yeah.
great idea. Again, these are people. One of the great things about pickleball is it's so social. You're meeting people that you maybe have never met before, even though you've maybe been around them lots. Now you're actually getting to spend and hang out time with them. So name tags would be great.
Yeah.
Um, I really should have not played. I should have just run it, but there's no way I could have done that. Um, but I think it went great. I'm hoping that it can be like a thing that continues to go on. I think that we could get more and more people, but I think from a logistics standpoint, I think more than 60 would be difficult to manage.
Yeah.
Last year we had 48 that signed up. I think we had 42 that played. So I think we could handle a little bit more than that, but not a ton more. I also think that I'm kind of toying around. I like the idea of a tournament, but it was hard to like skill assess everybody.
Hmm.
And I really like, to me, a lot of the most fun was at the very end when it was just picking up games with people.
Yeah.
I was able to play with you. I was playing with like Catherine Spiller. Just to pick up games with different people. So I'm almost wondering if maybe, hey, look, let's have a 4 hour open play. Just come and mix in with people, and maybe when we get there, if there's 10 people that are really really competitive, we'll put those people in tournament. I don't know if there has to be a winner in it. In this first year, in my mind, it made a lot of sense to like put people into like a category. But I think part of the fun of pickleball is just getting to play and mix it up with people, with everybody. Advanced players, beginners. So again, if you did play, I hope you'll play again, and I welcome any feedback of how you think it could be better. If you didn't play, shoot me an email. We're planning on doing it again next year. I can't remember what the date is, but it's the first Tuesday in September, which is the day before the show. This year we had 6 courts. Next year I'm trying to get 8 courts, which would open up some more play. But I think it went great. I think everybody had a really good time. Everybody told me they had a good time. The manufacturers that sponsored the event, I feel like it was we were asking a small amount of money, less than what would be a dinner at CEDIA. And I think in exchange for that, they got a lot of visibility and again a lot of goodwill out of it. So I think it went really good.
One of my favorite parts was after we were done and I was walking the show floor like the next day and maybe the day after that, because actually that was a non-show day. So Thursday. And I would see people that I'd never known before, but I recognized them because they had been in the pickleball tournament. And maybe I didn't know enough about them to go up and chat with them, but it was just nice to have more familiar faces on the show floor just from an event like that.
Yeah, I mean, totally. It's like, I've known some of the people really well. Like, obviously, I know you super well. I've known Catherine Spiller from Steinway Lingdorf for a long time. But like Eric Tees from DSI, I don't know that I've ever met Kyle Steele.
Mhm.
There's other people. that are really, movers and shakers in our industry that, came out there and played. And it was like, Josh from, CEO, Josh, Alex, CEO of Josh. I mean, we had Daryl Friedman from CEDIA came out, was watching for a while.
Yeah.
It was cool just to see somebody, I would say out of their element. I mean, it's like, our element is the show floor and all that, but like, just people out there having fun and playing the same game. I think it was a blast. We had great weather. It's funny to me because I live in Myrtle Beach, and where we play, it's about a mile from the ocean, and so it can get pretty windy at the courts, and we can frequently play in 90 degrees, 90% humidity. So everyone out there was like, "Oh my God, it's so hot, it's so windy," and I'm like, "This is amazing." I played pickleball for 4 straight hours. I didn't break a sweat. It was great. So, um,
Yeah,
I,
I think the one mistake I made, I was trying really hard to hydrate, but I think I was drinking too many like Powerades or whatever it was there, or Gatorades. Combine that with way too many beef sticks at the end because there were so many left over, and I'm like, yes, free beef
yeah, beef
sticks.
stick.
And then when we went to dinner, the first of 3 nights of dinners at the same location, it just all hit me, and I kind of felt like I was going to throw up. So like
Yeah,
and
that
I don't think it was the altitude. I don't think it was the dehydration. It was just like consuming the wrong stuff, too much of it,
it was, and again, that was a lot of physical exertion in some hot heat, and packed with meat sticks and Gatorade. Uh, but again, I was super appreciative that you showed up early. I know for a lot of people, coming into town early enough to play on Tuesday was making an effort, and
Yeah.
I hope everybody felt it was worth the effort. Um,
It was nice to get a warm up to being there because since I stopped doing the CEDIA daily and having to be there like 2 days early, I just said, my new lifestyle is going to be fly in right when the show starts and get started. But it's really hard to get your brain on track after you've just gotten off of a plane basically and go straight to a show or start going to press events. This at least gave me a chance to kind of warm up to the location and
yeah,
be around some folks in a more casual setting, even though it was, yeah, the tournament thing was pretty intense for someone who's not done a tournament. It's like you are going into this next game with yet another new person you've never met before, and you have no,
yeah.
actual knowledge of their playing style. But I thought that was really interesting. I think it would maybe be better to have at least part of it be kind of a more casual setting, and maybe at the end you kind of partner up with people that are more likely your style or something. Um,
Yeah. So again, the
Complicated.
format was what's called a round robin. So
Mhm.
my goal was, to make it as social as possible. And
Yeah.
for every single game you played with a different partner against different opponents. So the idea was that, in a given bracket, there might be between 12 and 18 people that you would get to play with all of those people in some capacity. Um, but yeah, and it's like, some when you're coming in, you've never played with this person before. You don't really know what their skill level is or their style of play. I mean, it's definitely a learning curve. It's, my daughter and I play all the time together, and there's still times where it's like, oh, I thought you were going to get that one. And,
Yeah.
it's like, but again, at the end of the day, it was really supposed to be fun, less than who won and who lost or
Yeah.
who got second place. But
Well, you came in second place,
I
so
did come in second place.
but did well there, and congratulations to Gordon Van Zwyden who won and plays a lot out west. So
Yeah, I mean, to
um,
be fair, I think we were all lucky, that Jimmy Lindell had pulled from Origin Acoustics.
oh,
He had pulled his back out playing pickleball literally the day before,
hmm,
and so like I was flying. I flew into town on Monday so I could make sure I was there Tuesday, and I texted him like, "Hey Jimmy, I'm going to be there tonight. Do you want to go and play?" And he's like, "I pulled my back. There's no way I'm going to be able to play tomorrow." And he came out for a little bit and watched and hit a few balls. And I could tell, just by hitting balls with him that he is a really solid player. Jimmy's really, really solid. And I would love to play with and against him. But I've talked to him a little bit, before and after, and he plays a lot of competitive pickleball.
hmm.
Jimmy's a Watch out for Jimmy on the court.
Well, Anyway, congratulations on that. I think we
Thank
can
you.
probably move on to something else for those who are tuning in to maybe learn something else about CEDIA besides pickleball. Um, I did find it amusing yesterday when we were trying to, or the day before when we were trying to set up a meeting time for the podcast, because I kind of threw this at you last minute that you were going to be out in the field, yesterday, doing pre-wire. So big shot like you, co-owner, still getting out there in the field, doing the hot work. That's impressive.
Well, I mean, two things. I mean, it's tough to call yourself a custom installer if you don't actually go out and install things. And I mean, we're a small company right now. We're
Yeah.
4 people, and I mean, when it's a big size pre-wire, it's all hands on deck. So,
Mm,
certainly, I'm not too big to go out and do those things for sure. There are things that my guys can do technically that I can't do. I mean, I'm not great at mounting TVs, honestly.
mm.
My strengths in the field are I'm really good at programming and calibrating and setting things up. But I can pull wire. I can drill a hole. I can stand on a ladder. But it is, man. It's like I'm 54. Um, I was tired yesterday. It's like I did like 8,000 steps on this house. It was a fair sized house, 5,000 square feet within a detached pool house. And we had to link those with wire and conduit, and go in a crawl space. And
Is this a new build?
oh yeah, a new build for sure.
Hmm.
You're kind of limited. Yeah, first off, a pre-wire always implies a new build. Otherwise
Yeah,
it would be it'd be a retro.
that's true. Yes.
But yeah, our biggest work, and I'd say for most people in the industry, our biggest work is always new builds because it's so much more what you can do. Um, but yeah, I was out there doing it, not loving it, but doing it.
So,
Actually, I got to be honest. I kind of like doing pre-wires because the phone's not ringing.
uh-huh.
No, I can, a lot of times I'll wear my headphones, I'll put them in like awareness mode. So if my guys need me, I can hear them, but I can just kind of zone out and focus on getting this wire from point A to point B. I don't have to solve anybody's problems. I don't have to worry about, any of that stuff. So sometimes it's nice to get away from the shop and just get out into the field.
So we're at CEDIA. You hear a lot about pulling, fiber these days and different protocols and things like that. Are you still just Cat 5 level
Cat
wiring on
six.
Cat 6?
Yeah, we are. So it's like here we're getting fiber. HTC is one of our big providers. They're pulling fiber to the house.
Mm.
But a lot of times they're pulling fiber to the outside of the house and then it's still copper to the inside. We're seeing some communities where they're pulling fiber all the way into the house if they can get there. Um, but we've uh, founded our store in 1995. We've never pulled any fiber inside of the house.
Mm.
I really don't see much of a need of it. I mean, the
Hmm.
the one big need would be like if you had some really remote locations and you needed to have like um, connect two switches, with super super fast connections. If you had like two remote switch locations,
Okay.
or if you had buildings or locations that were more than 100 meters apart, which is the length distance of Ethernet cabling. But for us, I mean, we do only residential work. I mean, very, very, very little commercial. We just haven't seen the need to pull any, fiber inside of the house.
Good to know. Yeah, it's kind of you see some of these developing solutions for end-to-end fiber, and I'm curious when that application gets applied, and or that's redundant, but when that application comes up. So
Well, like I said, the big one I could see potentially is, we did a big, big job quite a few years ago. In
mhm,
fact, I wrote about it for years, like tracking the mega install or whatever it was.
yeah.
And that was a 22,000 square foot house on one floor.
Mm,
And for that, if we would have had multiple locations, that house was so big where we would have linked switches with SFP, fiber cabling, where you'd have like no loss, no latency between them. That's really the only application that I could see where we ever would have possibly used it. But even there, it ended up not needing it. But
mhm.
again, I'm sure there's probably a bunch of people out there that would say I'm wrong, and they do it on every job, and this is the reason why. But for our projects and in our market, we've not had a need to do it.
Enhance your building security with 2NIP intercoms. Authorized individuals can enter using key cards, mobile devices, PINs, or QR codes. Visitors can easily request entry by buzzing. Our intercoms are equipped with an HD camera for clear identification and high-quality audio for excellent communication. Tenants can see and interact with visitors before granting access. Plus, 2N intercoms and access readers are available in stylish designs to fit any decor. Discover more at 2N.com or call us at 1-800-444-2947.
Yeah, and your market is a resort community, but also very traditional in a lot of ways, right? Would you say?
Well, we don't do much
conservative?
resort stuff because again, I mean, that's like, I guess
Well, not
we
resort, but like,
vacation.
vacation home type of
Yeah, we
space. Yeah.
do a lot of vacations, and what we're finding actually in one of the high-end communities that we work in is called Debadoo Colony, and it's a lot of it is oceanfront, and there's more building going on there right now than I've seen since I've worked here in 1998 is when I started. An incredible amount of building, tear downs, building, and a lot of it is high-end vacation rentals.
Mm,
Like, people are renting these houses for like $15,000 a week in season.
wow.
It's insane. The problem with that is that I mean, for us at least, they don't want to put any technology into there because these are all rental houses, and they don't want it complicated. They want a TV and a sound bar, a Roku. These really amazing houses that would have been fantastic projects in the past because it's a transitory rental
Hmm.
property that they want as simple as possible. It's not getting the cool stuff in it that we would normally do. Um,
Well, what
but
about the project yesterday? Was that a more
it was in the same community, but this is going to be their primary home.
okay?
But
Anything
again,
cool in there, or is it?
n- no, I mean, like it's like 8 rooms of audio and some Wi-Fi, and
Mhm.
this was, I mean, really for the size home that it was, pretty modest actually. My business partner Alan, what he's been really killing it on lately is lighting and shading
Okay.
with Lutron.
Hmm.
Alan loves homeworks the way I love Kaleidoscape.
Okay.
He loves homework systems, and he's been doing like multiple six-figure Lutron lighting shading jobs. Um, you know, um, so that's been a huge growth area for us. Probably our biggest growth area is in big lighting and shading projects.
Well, you mentioned Alan. I was going to ask you about him because he went to his first CEDIA Expo in a long time.
A long time.
What was his what was his take there from seeing some things on the show floor for the first time in a while? Was he mostly there to connect with like Lutron, the companies that he works directly with, or see new
Um,
stuff?
Alan, connecting is not Alan's strong suit. He kind of likes to observe and ask questions. I mean, he did. I think it was good for him to go back. Sometimes the show is just about reconnecting and recharging, right? It's like kind of getting out of the bubble of what you're doing and seeing all this other stuff. Sitting through the demos. He was really impressed with like the Sony Bravia 9 projector demo, as I was as well. And in fact, he's since sold one since the show.
Hmm.
That was great. He had some specific Lutron questions, and Lutron had the lab this year,
Yeah.
which was new for them. He went through there. I was able to get some specific questions answered, which was good. And he's not really a big industry guy, but we both went to the Sony Diamond Dealer night, and it was just got to hang out. One of our um, employee number three, I was employee number four. Employee number three is a guy named Eric Gardner, and Eric is now high up in Comcast. He like kind of runs their, I guess, department that deals with custom installation or whatever. And
Hmm.
Eric was at the show,
Oh,
and so he and Eric got to hang out. And it's just been kind of great to see, like, somebody who started with us, who's now kind of branched off into something else and is doing so good. But to me, that's what kind of CD is all about. Is like, you make these friendships, and you can maintain them the trade show. So he was a little butthurt. He didn't get into the Trinov demo.
Hmm.
He showed up and stood in line, and then like, oh no, you have to have a reservation to get in, and he was a little bummed about that, especially since I had built it up so much. But
Ah.
I should have gone over there with him and kind of golden ticketed him in. But um, I think he had a really good time. And like I guess what I would say to anybody is if it's been some time since you've been to CEDIA, um, it's great to kind of recharge your enthusiasm for the industry and just kind of get out of your own little space and see what else is going on and just kind of recharge from it. It's I look forward to that every year. That little getaway and meet everybody and see everybody I haven't seen. So I think he
Yeah.
had a good time. I think he's definitely happy that he went.
Let's talk about that Trina demo, because I did it last year actually with you at the preview, and I didn't do it this year because I heard it was somewhat similar. I'd interviewed them and kind of got the update on what they had changed and learned about their waveforming technology and
And
made
we
some
chose a
adjustments.
4 hour evening instead of the demo.
That's
We
right.
didn't realize that we were going to be driving deep out of Denver into
Yeah, we did
a
have
demo.
quite the travel adventure where we ended up in an Uber that took
The worst
literally
Uber
an
ride
hour.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah, with a driver who was watching videos while he drove.
Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had like North Korea propaganda videos. It was crazy.
I know.
I
We
felt
get
like for a while that car was on a treadmill because no matter how long I would look up, it still said we had 48 minutes to go. It's like we're stuck.
between that and the trip home the trip back to the hotels from pickleball, where you engaged with our driver in Spanish, which is amazing because I didn't know how well you could speak Spanish. And we talked about baseball very awkwardly with him because we simply wanted to know the answer to a question we could have looked up on our phones and not having spoken a word, which was
Yeah, to be fair, the question was, are
the
the
Rockies.
Rockies playing this week? And it's like from that, the guys surmised that we were hardcore uh, single A baseball fans and wanted to know every Spanish player that was coming up in the leagues.
There were possibly family members of his or really good friends. But yeah, it was entertaining. But so Trinoff, anything really different about it from last year as far as you could kind of
I
assume?
think they had a different speaker partner, if I'm not mistaken. This year they were partnered with Perlison. So
Right.
that was different. I mean, I think the crux of the demo was the same. They were really showing off their waveforming technology. I believe it was a different speaker layout and obviously different speakers. They actually gave two different demos. One of the demos was a video-centric demo, which was to show the Barco Nertheus's DCI capabilities. So for that demo, they were showing like true DCI um, digital cinema initiative, like packaged content. And the video was the guy's like, just so you know, for this, we're showing it. I can't remember his exact verbiage, but like I think the target for DCI was like 110 nits or something. And he's like, so we've dialed the projector down to 23%.
Mm,
Okay, but all of the content for that, because it was like DCI trailer package, it was all just 5.1 audio. So I really wanted to hear the Trinov demo, which like the full audio demo. So I went back and that was the more traditional, big Atmos audio demo. It was fantastic. I mean, to me, the bass in that was as tight and controlled as anything. And there was one like scene, I can't remember what the demo like material was, but it felt like a hand just pushed me into the chair. Like you felt this bass wave just push you.
mm,
And I mean, that was a really cool sensation. But, kind of as I wrote in my recap,
hmm
it's when you hear a seven-figure system,
Yeah.
it's kind of like jading in a way. It's like, I
hmm
mean, no matter how good it sounds, it's like, of course it sounds that good,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's impossible, I think, to impress somebody with a $1 million system because it should absolutely sound every bit as amazing as it possibly does sound, and probably even better. I mean, again, $1 million is nuts.
Yeah.
What was, I mean, it didn't sound as good to me, but it was more impressive. Was the JBL synthesis demo?
Right.
I felt that the Trina demo sounded better, but it also cost 10 times what the synthesis system cost. So, I mean, to me, that was a lot more impressive. Was to say, hey, look, sure, for $1.5 million you can do this, but for 150 or whatever the JBL one was,
Hmm.
you can do this. And they showed whatever the new Ghostbusters movie is. It was one of the demos, and the bass was so big and so tight, way fewer subwoofers. I think they only had four in the
Yeah.
JBL demo. Um, but again, it would have been like, again, if you could have then seen something else, it's like, okay, well, this system's only 10,000 and it delivered 80% of the experience. It's like
Hmm.
that to me, it's like, we could all blow somebody away with a money no object system, but
Yeah.
it's like, very, very rarely is that the case. Much more common is like, okay, well, my budget is X, blow me away with that. So to me, that the synthesis was really memorable for what they could do for so much less money.
Yeah, and they're very adamant that four subs is where you want to be with the Harman kind of approach, right? Like they've written white papers that are very well quoted, and think that the idea of all of those, kind of, I guess, neutralizing sub sort of approach of the Trenoff, like, waveforming is overkill. That's what you hear from Harman, and they do it a really great, they do a great job with their setup there at JBL. Um, and I also appreciated from my reporting that JBL is trying to figure out a way to appeal to the, I guess, Gen Z, maybe, um, next wave of customers, and not selling everything as this massive theater system, but really kind of a 2.1, or something with a little more stylized look to it. I appreciated their effort there, because they're still a name brand, JBL, that goes from Bluetooth all the way up to synthesis. So it was
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
cool.
again, you probably have some thoughts on this too. It's like we've got daughters that are very similar in age.
Hmm.
My daughter Lauren will turn 18 in November, and she's grown up with really great audio gear her whole life. I mean, I have a Trinov Altitude, and Lauren is content for the most part to just listen to stuff out of her phone speaker.
Hmm.
And I lately she started. We've got a Niles, like four little speakers and a subwoofer in our kitchen, and she'll like when she does the dishes, which is one of her things she does, things she has to do. um, she'll start playing music out of those, and listen to music, but. Um, it's a challenge, I think, for these companies to like, garner, our generation. We're not going to be around forever, and we're kind of making our big, our big purchases now, right? I mean, it's like,
Hmm.
so how are these next generations of customers, how are you going to capture them? And I don't really know that answer. I mean, to me, Lauren would be the most like groomed person to like be into high end stuff, and she almost could take it or leave it.
Right.
I mean, she has a Sonos Move that's in her bathroom. I think she listens to when she takes a shower. I got her some SVS Prime Wireless Pro speakers that I had reviewed, and I'm like, hey, this is a great little two-channel sound system that you could have. They're sitting in the box in a room. It's
Mm.
like, so I don't know. I did think that was interesting that JBL's trying to do that. I mean, you obviously trying is the first step, or like making that as a goal, that's something you need to do. But I think that's a challenge.
I do too.
And I think that's a good challenge made for our industry, the CI channel as well. It's like if the future generation of buyers is happy watching on their phone, um, that's going to put a real hurt on this channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we continue to talk about the high end, and that's where our industry really does exist. And it's what our coverage has to be because it's what pays the bills. But I do find that curious and kind of concerning. But while we're talking CEDIA, let's talk about the high end some more. Let's just
Right back to it.
stop worrying about that other stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you and I both agree one of our favorite visual demos. You talk about the projectors, but the micro LED quantum media systems demo. Talk about a price is no object
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a
I mean, stepping from the high end to the ultra high end.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Again, Ken Hoffman and Quantum Media Systems. Year after year, it's the most impressive video um, display for me for sure. I mean, and the closest thing I can describe it to would be like a movie theater sized OLED.
I know. That's
Um,
exactly what I was thinking. It's like the difference if you were just scaling it down to the way OLED looks versus straight LED
except for
LCD.
brighter. I mean, it's way brighter than
Yeah,
OLED.
true.
But just as black. I mean, the incredible detail, incredible resolution. I mean, the colors are amazing. I feel like I constantly see seams in other
Hmm.
manufacturers' panels. I never see any seams in Ken's panels. Um, but again, it's like the price has come down. It still starts at like a $500,000.
Yeah.
And granted, I'm not running in like the super high end circles. I'm sure there's lots of companies out there that are doing them. I don't personally know anyone that's done a micro LED wall.
Well, I,
And that,
I, I think you do. You just don't realize it. It's actually the gentleman with the injury who was running your.
oh, Kyle. Well, yeah. I mean, just in hearing him talk about his company, I could imagine that he
Yeah.
would, and I'm sure Eric Deese has done them.
Oh yeah.
But I don't really know them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Clearly, there's companies out there that are selling these, but I think it's in that like 1% of 1%. The Bravas. These guys, and Ken will tell you they're selling as many panels as they can produce.
Hmm.
So obviously the business is there, but um, what was kind of telling to me was, um, man, I just blanked out on the manufacturer's name. Hang on, I'm gonna whip through my write up here. Um, AWOL Vision.
Oh
Um,
right. I
a,
actually saw you talking to them, and I didn't have time to follow up to hear what
yeah,
you learned about that.
so like they are known as kind of a value
Hmm.
proposition. I mean, they really are known for making ultra short throw projectors that are kind of in that, I don't know, $2,000 to $3,500 range, $2,000 to $3,500. And they showed a micro LED panel that was 162 inches. Um, and they said that I'm reading my notes here, it's 144 panels with a 0.9 millimeter pitch, that they say can be set up in about 2 hours. And, you know, I thought that was going to be a value entry into the category, but that, again, compared to the other ones, it is, but it's still $126,000.
Right.
So again, it's like that is still really rarefied air.
Hmm.
And I gotta wonder if you had a customer that had $150,000 budget, would they want to buy a product from AWOL Vision, who's obviously less known.
Yeah.
I think that LG has one. I want to say is at 135 inches, and it's in that kind of six-figure-ish range. But
Hmm.
um, I don't know that we're ever going to see that technology be like really mass market, but I think we'll see it be less ultra high end.
Yeah. And definitely more commercial applications like office, really high end office space, probably
Yeah.
lobbies and things where, you
Well,
know,
I think I mean, again, for commercial movie studios or cinemas are not doing great. The home theater, even at the low end, has gotten so good.
hmm
But I would pay $25 a ticket to go and watch a movie on a quantum media screen.
Yeah.
with a great sound system. I mean, to me, that is the premium experience that, I don't know how many people are like me that would do that. But again, I feel like in a big city, if you say, hey, look, this is, premium video experience, coupled with great seating and great sound and, blah, blah, blah. I think you could get $25 a movie ticket. Now, I say that knowing that in New York, that probably just is a movie ticket.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
it might have to be $50 a ticket. I don't know, but I think there's a space in the ultra premium commercial cinema where that could work out, or screening rooms, stuff like that.
Right, right. Well, let's talk a little bit about control as a centerpiece of this whole thing, or the user interface. You talked a little bit about the Josh AI demo and what they're doing there. We didn't make it to their off-site event that night when we got stuck in the Uber. But what did you learn there about what Alex is working on with Josh AI?
I think really trying to incorporate more AI features into their system, make their natural language, smarter, easier to use, more features. And one of the things that they showed was their kind of, I can't remember exactly what they called it, but where it's going to be able to analyze video, so it could describe to you what was in a room. And so, like, we were in the demo room, and Alex was like, Josh, give me a description of the room. And it came back with something like that. It appears that two people are giving a presentation. There's an audience of about 25 people that are sitting and watching. One of the presenters is a female. She has long blonde hair. There's another one who's a man. They're standing at the front of the room. So I'm not sure how useful that would be, but I mean, I think it's cool that they're really trying to push the boundaries of that. They have a nice, really cool touch screen that they added as well, which is going to have, like, their intelligence built into it. So always, impressed with what they're doing on that front. I have a Josh system in my house, and it's one of the few things that my family actually uses because it's so easy and it works. And like, to me, that's the real litmus test. Is we had Googles and Alexas and stuff, and it was a fad for a while. But once you've asked it to turn on the lights 4 or 5 times and it can't do it, can't find the device isn't responding, don't see that device in John's account, check back. You could have gotten up and turned the dumb thing on 10 times. Josh just works. And, my wife uses it to turn lights on and open and close the shades and that kind of stuff. And to me, that's really the touchstone of is the technology sticky enough that everybody in the family will use it. The only person who has a problem with it is my 8-year-old. I guess those microphones aren't really tuned for kids' voices, so it like literally doesn't hear her a lot of the times. So she'll say the same, hey Josh, and she'll Dad, ask Josh this, and I'll do it. But it's funny. It's the other. I probably shouldn't even say it. The other night, we watched Saturday Night Live, the season opener, and it's like, "Hey, Josh, is Jelly Roll morbidly obese?" And it came back with this, like, really, like, he's been clear about his struggles with weight gain and body issues, and really, it doesn't matter what it is. We should all be kind and accepting of all people. It's
nice. Okay.
Whatever the medical term is.
I don't know if you've seen the clip that's been going around a little bit of the 2001 Space Odyssey movie with Hal when he's going to unplug Hal and he's talking to him, and it's blended with Alexa.
I have not seen it.
It's very funny. It's basically Alexa misinterpreting every question he asks. But that you're the first person I've talked to that's actually lived with Josh, besides Alex, obviously. But that's good to hear, because I knew there were some kind of growing pains there early on, like there are with all control systems, and voice control being part of that obviously has been challenging with all the other systems. But
I would say, I think in people's minds, they're going to get voice control and they're going to use voice control for everything. But in reality, we use it pretty sparingly. It's mainly like what we're using it for things is like we're going to start a movie with our projector. So it's like, hey, Josh, turn off the lights in the great room and close the front door shade.
Hmm.
And it'll turn off all those lights and close that shade. Or, hey, Josh, turn the kitchen lights to 50%. It's really things like that, or asking it stuff like, is Jelly Roll more of a meal piece? Um, but people think is, oh, it's not user friendly to ask Josh to change the channel for you. I
Mm.
mean, it's still a remote control is so much easier for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um, and there are still the times where like it's not very frequent, but it happens where like we'll be watching something and either the TV will say something that it misinterprets or will say something, and like it will think that I've asked it to play like some really obscure song because I
Mm.
wasn't asking it a request at all. And like all of a sudden the projector turns off, the screen rolls
Oh
up, the
no.
lights come on, and some bizarre music starts blaring out of the system. And it's like, oh, and it's like, when it's going to do it because Josh will be like, okay, now
Oh no.
playing. And then it's like, it's like at that point, it's going to do it. There's no way to stop it from doing it. But fortunately, those are still pretty few and far between. But I mean, anytime you have a microphone that's listening for a command, it has the off chance that it's going to mishear something.
Yeah. Well, for sure, and it's going to be the case for any system you have, and this one I think because you can get it to learn so many things and help you to answer kind of complex questions like the Jelly Roll question. It's very complex.
That's complex.
There's a lot more you can do with it, but I'm with you. I'm less. Not surprisingly, I'm less of the talker. I'd rather open up an app and make an adjustment to the lights like that.
Yeah.
But I can see others who would want it to be responsive, and it's a good
It is nice
part
too.
of it.
Like again, if you have the app on your phone, you can open the Josh app and you can talk to it just like you're
Oh,
talking to a microphone,
yeah.
which seems like it's maybe has a higher success rate
Hmm.
because you're not talking out to a far field microphone. But again, to me, I use that even less so because now I'm pulling my phone out, I'm opening my phone
Hmm.
up, I'm going to that app, I'm going. It's like you know, voice has to be the smallest pain point possible
Yeah.
to be able to use it. And again, we have one, I guess they call it the nano microphone, whatever the kind of round puck one is.
Hmm.
It's centrally located in our kind of living room. And we know what, again, that's the room that people gather in the most of. We use it, I would say at least every day, but mainly it's turn these lights on, turn these lights off, open
Hmm.
the shade, close the shade, things like that.
Well, to wrap up, because we're headed toward an hour here, and I think we spent a half hour on pickleball. But when you report on or review a show like CEDIA, you often talk about the demo clips, and it's gotten a little less uh, predictable these days. We don't do as much theater stuff, but we'd still have our fair share of those dark rooms where you see the same clip over and over again, and I think you and I had a similar experience. The one that jumped out at me that I had not seen that I enjoyed the most was the Bad Boys Ride or Die, uh,
Jelly beans.
the jelly bean shootout thing, which just made me laugh, and I didn't even realize they still. Um, I thought what's his name was funny. Oh geez,
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence. Yeah,
Martin. Yeah.
yeah, but that scene where he sticks out his tongue and catches the jelly bean in slow motion, but it's a licorice jelly bean. He spits it out. That just it got me. So
Is it okay to laugh with Will Smith again? Are we...
I guess it is. I guess so. Um, any favorites in there? That I know
uh,
one that I caught that I was surprised about. That was the Gladiator one that we saw. That,
the trailer for Gladiator 2.
yeah, the quantum demo of that. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll go see that movie. Okay.
Yeah. Ridley Scott, I probably was going to see it, whatever,
Yeah.
but that was good. I mean, as I wrote in my write-up, I think still the most demoed scene was the 2 minutes, 15 second scene from Top Gun 2, where he's practicing for the mission. But I mean, it's a great demo scene. It really is. It's got everything compelling in a demo. It sounds great. It looks great. It's a short clip.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, before the show, I had predicted that there would have been a lot more Dune 2. and A Quiet Place Day One. I thought that those were going to be big ones. I saw those a couple of times, but I thought that that would have been a much more demoed thing. Bohemian Rhapsody, the We Will Rock You scene is got a longevity.
I didn't see that one at all. That's interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, and
The James Bond one you mentioned, No Time to Die.
yeah,
That's a great scene.
that's a great scene. It really is. Watching that DB5, and that's another one that you don't mind sitting through in a really great system.
Agreed.
I'm glad that In the Shallows has maybe
Oh my God.
sunsetted.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Do you remember when Dolby Atmos first came out? There was literally one demo disc. Dolby had made one demo disc, and every single exhibitor got this one demo because it was the only Dolby Atmos Contos that there was. Contos content. And it was Ricky Martin's Bailando. And it's like you had to sit through, God dang it, I think we sat through Bailando 15 times. But there was this one super hot girl in there. So it's like, all right, well, she's about to come on. It's like, but it's like, man, if I never see Bailando again, that will be too soon.
Yeah. The Maverick one that cracks me up because to this day, I mean, you're gonna hate me for this, but I still haven't seen that movie all the way through.
Oh man!
But that scene that they keep showing, and they cut back to the guy's face. I don't know if he's like his commander or what he is, and it's just like, damn, it's just like, whoa, like he just keeps making the face like he's not gonna. Oh, he did it, It's like I just can imagine that shoot where it's like, okay, now give me another take. This time,
right.
You're not sure.
Yeah, he might be actually making it and go.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I mean, I saw the original Top Gun in the theater.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off as a matinee, and then Top Gun at a drive-in that same day. So it was quite a day. I feel like Top Gun Maverick is like a master class in how you reboot a franchise and make a sequel. I just thought it was so well done. I thought they had just the right amount of Tom Cruise, too much Tom Cruise, too much, just the right amount. I thought that they didn't try to make it crazy. So many movies today, it's like the plots are so freaking complex that if you don't have a notebook that you're following along with, it's like this was. We got a mission, we trained for the mission, we do the mission. And it was like that was it. It was simple, but it was like really compelling and interesting. And I mean, I'm really into like fighter jets and stuff like that. And tactically, the mission planning was stupid. They would never have completed the mission that way. But it was still a ton of fun to watch, and it's a great home theater content. There are some things I have a Kaleidoscape, and as we're scrolling through the cover art view, there's certain things that when they pop up on the view, it's like, oh, we could watch that again. It's like, Daddy, we just watched that. But it's like for me, it's like Top Gun Maverick and Hunger Games, the first one. I just love those two movies, and I would be content to watch them. And actually, we watched Mad Max a couple of times. The new, not Furiosa, but Fury Road. And that movie is just such an adrenaline rush I mean, every time the screen fades to black, you're kind of like, it's like, thank goodness you gave me the spot to catch my breath. But yeah, I mean, again, home theater is really my passion in this industry. It's what got me into this. And I love watching movies, and for the most part, I'm content to really watch anything. I'm just happy to be there watching a movie for the most part.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, John. I really appreciate your time as usual. I'm glad we could catch up since the show.
And not one mention of Taylor Swift.
I thought about it. She's going to have her last two shows here in Indianapolis in November.
No, I thought it was in Canada. Or maybe her last two U.S. shows.
I thought it was the end of the tour. Period.
I think she ends the tour in Canada, actually.
Oh, perhaps. Okay. I've ruined my.
Sorry.
But
if you get us 4 tickets, Lauren and I will come. We'll go with you and your daughter.
I tried. I didn't get any tickets. I did all the things you're supposed to do, and we didn't get. And we had many family members trying, and they were bought up by people all around the world, so we had no chance locally. But just kind of wondering if I might wander down there and see if I can hear a little, sound bleed out of the stadium. It's going to be closed because it's going to be November and
Yeah.
can't have the top open for that. But
I almost feel like that would be more depressing.
it might
Like,
be,
I'm
yeah,
so close. I can hear this. I hear this like 1,000 millisecond reverb.
yeah, exactly.
I hear the crowd cheering. I bet they're having a great time.
Yeah. Well, when I last saw her there at that stadium, at Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indianapolis, and we were walking in, and I was not the fan that I later became. I just marveled at how many big rigged semi trucks were in the parking lot behind the stadium when we walked past that window that you could see down at the parking lot. And I'm sure that even more of those are going to be there. I think just to see the production equipment outside would be awe-inspiring. But I'm sorry I can't be there. I'm glad at least we've already got it available to us to watch, streaming. So
Yeah,
but hey, thanks again. Great talking
absolutely.
to you. And I will we'll catch up later offline and not on a podcast. And hopefully it'll be about pickleball. Me actually playing pickleball. So
Here's fingers crossed.
exactly. John Sciacca is co-owner of Custom Theater and Audio in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You can learn more about his company at customtheaterandaudio.com and read about his most recent CEDIA explorations and adventures at residentialsystems.com. And that wraps up today's show, which was produced by Residential Tech Today, IPW, and Pretty Easy Podcast. If you're new to Residential Tech Talks, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you watched or listened to this episode. Also, check out all the latest residential tech news at our magazine's website, restechtoday.com, where you can also subscribe to the print or digital magazine and to our Tuesday and Thursday email newsletters. Until next time, please stay safe, stay inspired, and let us know if you have a great story to tell.
Residential Tech Talk, lighting specialist to Residential Tech.
Home automation device, home or smart house.